Hello and welcome to What Culture Wrestling with myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. And today we get to review WWE 2K24. Available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XX, Xbox One, and PC. It was the 40 years of WrestleMania edition that I've been looking to take for a test spin over the past few days. And man, so far, it's been an absolute blast. First things first, the gameplay itself. That nicely picks things up where the impressive 2K23 left off, with a nice sense of, well, I don't know, meatiness to how the action handles. Everything feels nicely weighted, impactful, and the controls are pretty straightforward, especially if you dabbled with 2K23. It goes without saying, but the game itself, of course, is absolutely beautiful to look at, whether that's face models, and some of those actually have been given an upgrade from last year's game, the arenas and stadiums, the sleek menu screens, or if you're one of those like me who appreciate the retro fuzz that comes with revisiting matches from decades gone by, yeah, it's got you covered here, very much so. And on that front, in terms of decades gone by, it's only right to discuss the game's showcase mode. This time out, it's WrestleMania itself which gets a spotlight shone on it, and it's just so much fun to play through some of the biggest matches in WrestleMania history. If you're a fan like me who's around to see most of these matches happen in real time, it's just a brilliant blast of nostalgia. You get the video packages that highlight what went on in these rivalries, why the matches were so important, and then you get to play through it yourself. Yeah, there was way more than just a few smiles raised that watches some of this old footage back from myself, and you have an in-studio Corey Graves basically running down the backstories of these wars. For the younger fans above you, though, the younger fans out there, these moments also serve as quite, I guess, a history lesson of sorts. Take you by the hand and explaining why the likes of Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, and Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper were and are such big deals. It's really nicely done all the way over. And it's also somewhat of a nice welcome change to see a showcase with such variety to it. Sure, 2K23 showcase had you playing as different opponents of John Cena's from over the years, but you still had to face some form of John Cena in each and every match, which was okay. They were different Cenas, but it did get a little bit repetitive at times. And obviously before that as well, 2K22, it was amazing to see tribute paid to Rey Mysterio, but it did get a little tiring when you're playing as Ray for, what was it, 12 matches I think it was on that. Here though, it's all very different. Yes, there are certain wrestlers who pop up more than one occasion in WrestleMania Showcase, but it's just way more varied. It's also worth noting as well that the showcase is a little more user-friendly this time out in terms of giving you a little more specific detail on how to carry out the various tasks and prompts that come up throughout each and every match. And much like the previous showcase modes, the action, it's a mixture of I guess video clips, like real footage, and actual in-game play with the, I believe they call it slingshot technology. It's pretty darn seamless, man. It takes what works so well in 2K23 and kind of tweaks it up a little bit to 11. Away from WrestleMania Showcase though, there's a bunch more stuff to get into with 2K24. Once again, you got MyFaction, you got MyRise, you got MyGM, you got Universe mode, and the always popular Creation Suite. So I'll start with MyFaction. Now, being fully honest, MyFaction is something not particularly geared towards myself, I don't feel, but it does offer up the opportunity to pick up certain special versions of characters, such as, hey, I packed a 2009 Sheamus when I was testing through it, so yeah, that's a thing. For those who get a kick out of MyFaction though, it'll again be the case this time out. For those like me who don't really bother with that mode, again, it'll probably be the exact same thing this time out. MyRise, on the other hand, that's something that very much does tick a lot of boxes for me. Now, last year, you had the Lock and you had the Legacy on MyRise. They were the two paths you could go through, and they were a whole bunch of fun to play through. This year, again, it's two paths. It's Unleashed or it's Undisputed. Now, the Unleashed version, that is based around a female wrestler, and Unleashed sees you take control of someone who helped start a buzzworthy company on the indies, become one of its top stars, then essentially had the chance to jump ship to the big time of WWE. Sound familiar? Whoa, only smokes mirrors. Along the way, you'll have William Regal. He's there helping you, guiding you, while other stars, both old and new, will have certain viewpoints on you depending on their past interactions. For instance, Shotzi takes an immediate dislike. It's not a spoiler. It's not really a spoiler, but Shotzi takes an immediate dislike to you because you refused to book her for your TBD. That's the name of the promotion for your TBD show many years before. So that's like an instant, immediate beef you've got there. For the men's path on MyRise, Undisputed basically looks at a landscape where Roman Reigns has vacated his undisputed WWE Universal Championship and headed to Hollywood, leaving you as one of the many superstars looking to step up and fill the void left by the Tribal Chief. all as Roman kind of looks on from the shadows. I'm not got into that as much quite as I have so far with Unleashed. That was the other version. I've got further with that one, but both of them seem really interesting so far. And I really like MyRise in the last game. I'm really liking MyRise so far on this game. So yeah, we'll see. MyGM is also something that's back where you're able to select a GM or use your own created character to take charge of a certain brand, such as Eric Bischoff bringing back WCW, for example. That's exactly what I did because I'm a WCW nerd. And there you'll compete in the ratings against your rival brands and rival GMs. There's a draft establishing separate rosters for each show. I thought my roster was absolutely the best, so hey, I'm maybe a little bit biased there. And at the time of recording, though, I was only able to spend about an hour though with my GM, and it was fine. It was good. It was something a little like MyFaction that doesn't do all that much for me personally, but that's just my personal taste. That's not to say my GM is bad. It's just, again, not really for me, which is absolutely fine. Plus, it's always good to see Tyler Breeze get some time in the spotlight. So there's that. A lot of love here for Tyler Breeze. As for Universe mode, it's here. It's accounted for, and it's as good as you want to make it. Basically, to go back to WCW. It's always fun for me to bring back WCW shows, running them on a weekly basis, bringing in like a classic roster because there's lots of legends on the game. Obviously, the roster's over 200 people. There is a bunch of DLC as well announced to come out for the rest of the year, and then there will be creations, which we will get to creations shortly. But yeah, you can make your own WCW show. You can maybe make your own AEW show, ECW show, New Japan show, AAA show, or whatever. You get the idea. The possibilities there are endless when it comes to Universe mode. And there's again the two versions of Universe. So there's a sandbox version where you control everything, every match, every rivalry, every result, or there's the option to play through Universe as one specific character, which that always makes for a pretty fun experience as well. I always find. So yeah, there's a lot going on in Universe. It's always good. It's the same as that's the kind of the thing with 2K24. There's no major differences to a lot of modes, but there's just like nice little tweaks because I had a really good foundation with 2K23 to build on. Now it's yeah, there's Universe mode. That's kind of a lot of it is still the same, but things that are different is we have an ambulance match involved this time. Yes, there's a couple of match types that are either completely new to the 2K games or have been brought back and not been seen for many a year. And I will start with the ambulance match because when it was announced there was going to be an ambulance match, I mean those matches in real life, yeah, so. This is way more fun than I was expecting. You can climb on the ambulance, you can jump off the ambulance onto an opponent, all as you try to stuff that opponent in the back of the ambulance, which is a little trickier than you might expect because there's a button bashing race basically to close the ambulance door or for the opponent to get out of the door. It's a lot more entertaining than it sounds. Another new addition is a return of the casket match, which maybe isn't quite as good as the ambulance match, to be honest. You can do some nice damage on the actual casket itself with bashing your opponent on it, but it can get a little bit awkward to get the opponent in the right place to actually get them in the casket and win the match. So yeah, the match, it plays fine, it's okay, but the casket element makes it a little bit clunky in terms of like where the casket is placed, which given it's a casket match, maybe that's a little bit of a problem for some people. But we've got special referees. Special referee matches are back too for the first time since, was it 2K17? Maybe, I'm sure it was 2K17 I remember reading. But it's here and it's really good, but not quite perfect. You get to basically choose a superstar, an official, a manager, or even an existing referee to take charge of. And you can create your own referee attire as well, your own referee getup, or you can just wear your standard wrestling gear and you choose to be a clean ref, or you can be a slightly dodgy, slightly corrupt referee, which then that leans into during the match. You can do fast counts, you can call totally random like rope breaks where they're nowhere near the ropes. You can call for screw job tap outs. Yes, Montreal is represented here. Or, you can just attack your opponent and lay them to waste. The catch though is you do too many shenanigans and you'll be replaced mid-match by a new referee. So that's a nice little thing going on there. But from what I can see, the kind of the mild downside is that you can only referee to one-on-one match. So that's like a little bit of a drawback. But again, it's a really fun mode to play with. It's a really fun mode to dabble with. There's also a new gauntlet match, which is another that's far more enjoyable than maybe I expected, to be honest. You face off between 4 and 30 opponents with your health restored a little bit between those matches. And if you get beat, there's the option to take control of the next person. Plus, you can also put a title on the line with the eventual winner of this gauntlet becoming the new champion. So it's a lot more than just, I'm going to go through 6 people and there we go. That's that, and that's fun. No, they've worked it quite well with this. I've got to be honest. I wasn't expecting much from the whole gauntlet match type because, yeah, but it's a lot more fun than I imagined. Backstage Brawl, that's another one that's been tweaked. Not too much though. It's still not one of the game's better match types, I'll be honest, but the backstage area, it's a little more sprawling this time. It's kind of similar to 2K23, but slightly bigger and a few more things to do. It's a nice addition. It's you can play up to 4 players now in Backstage Brawl, and it's always fun just to win a match by a definitive knockout. So that's what's that going to it. Now, the big one for a lot of people, the Creation Suite. This time, yeah, it's just these games cram so much in. It's just like, even this time there's even more like a ludicrous amount of items than usual, whether it's like, you know, totally random items that you could just use whatever you want, or there's some bits in there that are alternative attires for other wrestlers, such as I got to recreate Macho Man Randy Savage, or Macho King Randy Savage, his outfit from WrestleMania 7. And there's even the gear in there of someone like a Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, for those looking to add the American Dragon to the game. His trunks are there. They don't need altering at all. It's just select that, make you Bryan. There you go. The detail possible in the creations though these days is just, man, it's ridiculous. And if you're prepared to put the time in, you will be rewarded with some absolutely top-notch creations, whether that's your own completely unique wrestlers or recreating someone from another promotion or from years gone by. But on that front, I should note that as of this recording, the 2K24 servers aren't live right now. So yeah, that's been, there's no option to upload or to download creations or to play online matches. So I can't really assess that because I've not had access to it. It's as simple as that. But I'm sure by the time this review will go live, the servers will be on their way. They'll be on their way. But all in all, 2K24, sorry, represents a minor upgrade on the already great WWE 2K23. And that's perfectly fine when considering just how much 2K23 got right. Clearly, taking time out after the dreadful 2K20 was a genius decision. That allowed 2K and Visual Concept to refocus on getting back to the basics of what makes a great professional wrestling game. So you've got excellent gameplay, you've got a hugely enjoyable, varied, actually a little bit emotional showcase mode. I love the showcase mode on this. The ambulance match edition, that is absolutely brilliant. Plus, as mentioned, you've got a roster of like over 200 wrestlers. That's like your base to work with. I mean, some of them are unlockable through the showcase mode as well, so they might not be instantly playable, but there's a lot of people to choose from here. So for me, it's a big thumbs up for WWE 2K24. It's also a very nice touch to allow you to switch your camera. That's something I'm not touched on. Set up so that you're facing the entrance rather than just like stuck in the hard cam position. And also storing 3 finishes. You get to earn a super finisher. So that adds a nice touch in bringing some kind of drama to the match of like, do you use a finisher to try and keep it so you get 3, but then in trying to keep it and get into the 3, do you get beat in the meantime? Yeah, there's a lot going on with 2K24 that ticked a lot of boxes for me. So I'm not one particularly to give definitive scores on that much these days, star ratings as it were, but if pushed for a rating out of 10, I think for me, I'm gonna go with a 9. It's either a strong 8 or a 9. So either way, it's a huge recommendation for me for WWE 2K24. And with that, this has been WWE 2K24. I've been Andrew Powell from What Culture Wrestling. Have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you down the line.